A lie can travel halfway around the world while the truth is still tying its shoes, but eventually the truth shows up barefoot and still wins the race. Welcome back, Chosen One. Today we're not here to whisper, we're here to expose. Because the debate about you, it's no longer a debate, it's a full-blown mental breakdown for the people who made you the villain in a story you didn't even write. But here's a little fact most people ignore. Psychologists say that people often scapegoat those who expose their deepest insecurities without even trying. And guess what? You didn't try to shake the table. You sat at it and the legs started trembling. For years, you've been the main character in everyone else's argument, the name that caused group chats to explode, family dinners to turn awkward, and co-workers to whisper like high schoolers in cubicles. They obsessed, they argued, they analyzed. But here's the plot twist they never saw coming. You were never the problem. You were just the truth no one wanted to admit walked into the room. And now, even the spectators, the ones who clapped for your downfall and passed the popcorn, they're tired. Not tired of the drama, oh no. They're tired of defending people who can't even keep their stories straight anymore. And let's be real, some folks have spent so long trying to make you the villain, they forgot what the original lie even was. At this point, their narrative has more edits than a toxic ex's Instagram caption, and it's still not believable. So, buckle up, because in this video, we're going to unravel why the tables are turning, why even your critics are exhausted, and why you walking in truth has done more damage to lies than any argument ever could. Get ready. This isn't revenge. This is revelation. And everyone's watching it unfold like a Netflix special they didn't know you were starring in. Let's begin. Number one, they weren't defending you. They were defending the lie they built around you. They weren't defending you. They were defending the lie they built around you. That's the part people don't want to admit. When they were arguing about you at the dinner table, in group chats, behind closed doors, it wasn't because they were confused about who you were. Deep down, they already knew. What they were really trying to protect was the false story they all agreed on. A version of events that painted you as the problem, because that version made them feel better about their roles. To admit you were never the problem, that would have forced everyone to look at themselves. It would have meant admitting they jumped on a bandwagon without asking where it was going. That they ignored red flags, repeated gossip, stayed silent when they should have spoken up. It would have forced them to admit that they believed lies because those lies were more comfortable than the truth. And comfort is a powerful drug. When people realize the story about you doesn't add up, they don't rush to correct it. First, they panic, because now they're faced with the guilt of playing along, the embarrassment of being wrong, and the fear of what else they've been lying to themselves about. That's the real breakdown. That's why people are tired. Not because of you, because of the weight of their own dishonesty finally catching up. You didn't have to prove them wrong. Life did it for you. Consistency, peace, growth, those are things that can't be faked. And people are starting to see that. They're waking up to the fact that the problem wasn't the person they kept dissecting. The problem was the need to dissect you in the first place. Now that the illusion's falling apart, people are finally sitting in the awkward silence of truth. Not because they've become better people overnight, but because they're exhausted from maintaining a lie that never belonged to you, and it shows. Number two, the real drama was never about you. It was the war people were having with their own reflection through you. The arguments about you were never really about you. You were just the surface-level excuse. What was really happening was deeper and way more personal. People weren't fighting you. They were fighting themselves, using you as the outlet. You triggered something in them, not because you were offensive or loud, but because you showed up as something they couldn't explain, authentic, calm, grounded, and hard to manipulate. That energy does something to people who have spent their whole lives pretending. You reminded them of everything they never dealt with. Their insecurities, their jealousy, the parts of themselves they avoid in the mirror. And rather than deal with those uncomfortable truths, they pinned it all on you. You became the villain in a story that had nothing to do with your actual behavior. It's easier to point fingers than to reflect. It's easier to say you're the problem than to admit they've been wearing a mask so long they don't even know who they are without it. You became their projection screen. They dumped all their emotional baggage onto you, then blamed you for the weight. It wasn't fair, but it was convenient. That's why people were so loud about you. Not because they knew you, but because they saw themselves in you and it scared them. Your peace made their chaos louder. Your confidence highlighted their self-doubt. Your presence made their masks slip, and they hated you for it. But now the room is quieting down. People are drained. The drama, the gossip, the emotional gymnastics, it's all catching up because you never asked to be in the center of their identity crisis. You just walked in truth, and that truth was a mirror. Not everyone liked what they saw. Now they're realizing it. You weren't the fire starter. You were the flashlight. The fights weren't about what you did. They were about what you exposed. And now the smoke is clearing. People are tired of blaming the mirror for the reflection.